All right, we're going to review Chapter 2 here in Algebra 1 for your test this week. So write the letter for the correct answer in the blank at the right of each question. These are all multiple choice, just like your test will be. Translate the following sentence into an equation. Twice a number m minus 3 equals the sum of m and 5. So we have our equal sign. Twice a number m minus 3. That's twice a number m means 2 times m. If you do something twice, you do it 2 times. 2 times m minus 3 equals the sum of m and 5. So m plus 5. So we got to find an equation that looks like that. 2m minus 3 equals m plus 5b. It says twice a number m minus 3. So we have to do 2 times m, not 2 times parentheses. We're not multiplying the difference of m and 3 times 2. We're just multiplying m times 2. So this one's out. Minus 3 equals m plus 5. That one's out. 2 minus 3 equals m times 5. That one's out. And this one has parentheses, so that one's out. B is the best choice, the only one that answers it correctly. Number 2, translate the following equation into a verbal sentence. X plus 5, or the sum of x and 5, something like that. So the quotient of x and 5, that's out, that's division. The number x plus 5, that could work. The number x plus 5, that could work. The product of x and 5, no, that's multiplication. So we're looking at G and H. Okay, so x plus 5 equals 2 times the sum of 7 and x. So something like that. So the number x plus 5 equals 2 times the sum of 7 and x. That's true. The number x plus 5 is 2 times 7 plus x. That would be x plus 5 equals 2 times 7 plus x. This would not be correct. Oh, I didn't realize that was so far down. Sorry. This would not be correct because how it's written, you actually have to distribute that 2. So you'll get 14 plus 2x. If we wrote it out this way, we'd have 14 plus 1x. This way doesn't get that 2 distributed to the x. You have to have x plus 7 added together first, and then whatever that answer is multiplied by 2. So the only way that's correct is G for number 2. Number 3, solve y minus 18 equals negative 3. One-step equation. Here we would add 18 on both sides of my equal sign. Over here, negative 18 plus 18 cancels, and we get y equals negative 3 plus 18. You could actually flip-flop them and say 18 minus 3, which is 15. Positive 15D. Number 4, 5n equals 35. We have to get rid of this 5. Since it's n times 5 right now, we have to divide by 5. And 35 divided by 5 is 7. So that's G. 5 times 7 equals 35. That is true. Number 5, we have 3/5 x equals 15. Remember, to get rid of a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to multiply this whole side times the reciprocal of 3/5, which is just 5/3. Reciprocal just means you flip the fraction upside down. And I have to multiply this side by the same thing, 5 over 3. So on the left hand here, it cancels, and I'm left with x equals. On the right side, when you multiply fractions, you go straight across the top, straight across the bottom. 15 times 5 is 75, and 75 over 3. 1 times 3 is 3 on the bottom, and 75 divided by 3 equals 25. Which is C. Moving right along. Number 6, 2t plus 1 equals 3. This is a 2-step equation. 2t plus 1 equals 3. We have to start by subtracting 1 from both sides of our equal sign. So this guy will go away, and I'll be left with 2t equals, and then 3 minus 1 is 2. And now to get t alone, I have to get rid of this 2. Right now it's t times 2, so to get rid of times 2, I'm going to divide by 2. And I got to do the same thing over here. So t equals 2 divided by 2, which is positive 1. F. And then you can always go back and plug it in. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. That is correct. Number 7. A number is added to 9. The result is then multiplied by 4 to give a new result of 120. What is the number? So x plus 9, a number is added to 9, and the result is multiplied by 4. So whatever we get when we add x plus 9, we're going to multiply it by 4, and then the result is 120. So now I have to solve for x. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. So I'll get x plus 9 equals 30. And then I'm going to subtract 9. So I'm going to get x equals 21. So A. And let me know if you have questions. I'm just solving either one-step or multi-step equations. And now we're going to get into a little bit of absolute value. So number 8, evaluate. 2b minus 5 plus 1 if b equals 1. So first, I solve what's inside absolute value. I treat it like parentheses. So 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 minus 5 is negative 3. So I'm going to have negative 3 in absolute value bars plus 1. But once I take the absolute value of negative 3, remember, when all you're left with is one number inside the bars, you can go ahead and take the absolute value, which means the bars go away, and whatever's inside here becomes positive. So this is going to become positive 3 plus 1, which is just 4. H. Number 9, solve. C minus 5 in absolute value equals 7. So remember, since absolute value makes what's inside positive, this could have actually equaled negative 7, right? And then once we take the absolute value, it becomes positive 7. Or it could have equaled positive 7 to begin with. So we're going to set c minus 5 equal to 7 and c minus 5 equal to negative 7 and solve for both. So here, if I add 5, I get c equals 12. And over here, if I add 5 on both sides of my equal sign, I get c equals negative 2. So I get 12 and negative 2. 12 and negative 2. So here I have nothing. Negative 4, 4. Those don't work. Negative 4, 6. That doesn't work. But oh, here, negative 2 and 12. That's the two answers I got. So this is correct, D. Remember, when you're solving absolute value, take what's inside the bars and set it equal to the answer and the negative answer. Which ratio forms a proportion with 7 over 14? Well, can I simplify 7 over 14? I can divide the top and the bottom both by 7, right? So 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So I'm really looking for a fraction that's either 1 over 2 or that's equal to 1 over 2, 1/2. So is 4 half of 9? No. 4 is half of 8. 4 over 8 would be correct, but that's not what this is. Is 5 half of 12? No. 6 over 12 would be half, but not 5 over 12. Is 2 half of 5? No. It's half of 4. 2 over 4 would be correct. Is 3 half of 6? Yes. So this works. 7 over 14 is equal to 3 over 6. If you wanted to check yourself, you could cross multiply, right? 7 times 6 is 42. 14 times 3, 10 times 3 is 30. 4 times 3 is 12. 30 and 12 is 42. So that is correct. So our correct answer here is J. And if you're confused about any of this, go back and read your notes on proportions. I think it was like 2, 6, around somewhat 2, 6 or 2, 7. Okay, back page of the review. There's 20 questions plus a bonus, so we're about halfway. Solve the proportion. Remember, when we solve proportions, we cross multiply. So I get 7 times x equals 2 times 42. And we could have done 2 times 42 first. It doesn't matter. So that's 84. To solve for x, I have to divide both sides by 7. 84 divided by 7 is 12. So x has got to equal 12, which is B. Okay, number 12, solve 3t minus 6 equals t minus 2. 3t minus 6 equals t minus 2. Remember when we solve equations with a variable on both sides of our equal sign? We have to first get rid of the smallest variable. So t is smaller than 3t. So to get rid of it, I subtract it. Goes away. 2t minus 6 equals negative 2. Then I'm going to add 6 to both sides of my equal sign. 2t equals negative 2 plus 6 is 4. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So t has got to equal 2, which is h. If I plug that back in, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. And 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 equals 0. That is true. So that would make this statement true if I plugged a 2 in for t. All right, number 13. Solve 4 times t plus 1 equals 6t minus 1. First, I want to get rid of my parentheses, so I distribute. I'm running out of room here. That's on the back side of this first page. Okay, so I'm here on 13. I'm going to multiply 4 times t, which is 4t. Bring down my plus sign. 4 times 1 is 4. And then the other side stays the same because there's no parentheses. Now I've got t's on both sides of my equal sign, so I'm going to get rid of the smallest. And whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other. Whoops, that didn't look like a t. These cancel out. 4 equals 2t minus 1. Then I'm going to add 1 on both sides of my equal sign. 5 equals 2t. And then lastly, I divide by 2. So I get either t equals 5 over 2 or 2.5, something like that. Oops. So when I'm looking at my paper, remember I got 5 over 2 or 2.5, and here we go. A. Okay, then we go down to 14. Solve 5 times g minus 2 plus g equals 6 times g minus 4. This is another distributive property problem. So I'm going to multiply the 5 times both things inside parentheses and the 6 times both things. So 5 times g is 5g. Bring down my minus sign. 5 times 2 is 10. Then I have this plus g on the end. Equals 6 times g is 6g. Bring down my minus sign. 6 times 4 is 24. Now I can combine like terms over here on the left. 5g plus g is 6g. And then I still have this minus 10 here. Equals 6g minus 24. Okay, so what happens here? Right? What happens here? So I have g's on both sides, right? So I got to get rid of one of them, right? So I have to always get rid of the smallest, but here they're the same. So I'm going to subtract 6g, and I'm left with negative 10 equals, these cancel, negative 24. So here, nothing will ever make this statement true. It doesn't matter what I put in for g, because the g's get canceled out. And once they get canceled out, what I'm left with will never be true. Negative 10 is never going to be equal to negative 24, right? So nothing, there's no solution here. So which one of these choices here for 14 is no solution? All numbers? Definitely not. 0 or 2? Definitely not. What about this guy? Yeah, a little circle with the slash in it. This means no solution or no numbers. So that one is correct. Okay, number 15, solve ax minus 5 equals b for a. This is a literal equation, so we have to rearrange everything to get a by itself, right? So here's my paper. Ax minus 5 equals b, and I'm trying to get a by itself. So first thing I want to get rid of is this minus 5. So I'm going to add 5 on both sides of my equal sign. Here it cancels, and I'm left with ax equals. Now normally, if this was a number, I would add the number plus 5. But in this case, it's not a number, and I can't combine terms that aren't alike. This doesn't have a b in it. This isn't a plain number, so I'm just going to leave it as b plus 5. And then lastly, to get a alone, right now it's a times x. So to get rid of x, I got to divide by x. And whatever I do over here, I have to do over here. So these x's cancel, and I'm left with a equals b plus 5 over x. A equals b plus 5 over x. It told us to solve for a, so what is a equal to? B plus 5 over x, C. It doesn't say a equals, but all of these are what a is supposed to be equal to. So you can kind of narrow it down. All right, number 16, find the percent of change if the original is 10 and the new is 12. Remember, we use for percent of change, new minus original over the original. New minus orig over orig, and that is equal to our percentage over 100. So it's kind of like a proportion here that we're solving, right? So if our new is 12 and our original is 10, we're going to do 12 minus 10 over 10 equals our percent over 100. 12 minus 10 is 2, so 2 over 10 equals our percent over 100. And here you have choices. You can either divide this and multiply it by 100. So 2 divided by 10 equals that guy, times 100 equals 20. So it would be 20%. Or you can just go ahead and cross multiply, right? We're solving for this percentage, so we're just going to call it x. So I'm going to have 10x equals 2 times 100 is 200. Divide by 10. X equals 20. And since it's positive 20, that tells us it's a 20% increase, right? Find the percent of change if the original's 10 and the new's 20. It doesn't say increase or decrease here, so I guess they're not looking for that, but we did get 20. So our answer is H. Oh, sorry, that's crooked. Number 17, a baseball costs $4. If the sales tax is 5%, what is the total price? Let me get a blank sheet of paper here. So I told you guys a shortcut. If you were in on the meeting, I don't think I touched on it on the video, on the lesson video, but I did give you a shortcut. So we can either fill it out like we normally do, right? If a baseball is originally $4 and we add 5% tax, what's the new total, right? So new minus original over the original equals the percent over 100. It went up 5%, so 5 over 100. And now we can cross multiply, right? We can call this x. That's what we're looking for. So I can cross this way, and I get 4 times 5 equals x minus 4 times 100. Right? Distribute. This is 20. 100x minus 400. Add 400 over here. 420 equals 100x, divide by 100 to get x alone. 420 divided by 100 is 4.2, which is our new amount, so that has to be in money terms, so that's $4.20, right? There's that long way. The shortcut way is to just multiply our original amount, $4, times the decimal version of our percentage. So to change a percent to a decimal, you divide by 100, so that's 0.5. And then if I just multiply this, it would just tell me what the tax is, which was about 20 cents. I don't want to know just the tax. I want to know what the whole thing is going to be with this added in. So I stick a 1 in front here. So if you multiply this out, you will get 4.20. So either way, whether you use the shortcut way, multiply it by 1 point, whatever the percentage is in decimal, or do the cross multiplication, new minus original over original, all that, right? Either way, we get $4.20. So up here, the answer is B. This shortcut only works when we're talking about tax, when we're talking about a percent of increase and we're looking for the new amount. This shortcut works. Anything else, you got to use this long way. Okay, number 18. How many liters A pure acid must be added to 3 liters of a 50% acid solution to obtain 75% acid solution. So we're looking in liters. Pure acid would be added to, so that's 100%. So we're going to say 100%. How many liters of that? L plus 3 liters of 50% acid. 3 times 50% gives us a 75% acid solution, and that solution is made up of however many liters we put in here, plus 3 liters here, L plus 3. Okay, this is that weighted averages question. You might have a bonus question on this, but there should not be any questions on your test related to weighted averages. There may or may not be one of these on your EOC, but truthfully, these are really complex problems, and either you're going to get them or you're not. This is the 2-9 lesson. So if you don't get it, I don't want you to stress over it. It might be one question on your EOC. If anything, it's not worth stressing over, so just move on. If you do get it, fantastic. Here's how we solve it, right? All right, so when I'm working in a math problem, I can't leave percentages like this, so I have to change them to actual numbers. So I divide each of these by 100. So 100 divided by 100 is 1, so I get 1L plus 3 times 50%. 50 divided by 100 is 0.50. And 75 divided by 100 is 0.75. So I'm solving for the number of liters of pure acid that I mixed into this formula, right? All right, so I have L plus 3 times 0.5 is 1.5, I think. Yeah, 1.5, sorry. I was trying to make it 0.75, I don't know why. Equals 0.75 times L plus 0.75 times 3, which is 2.25. And we're going to keep solving for L. So now I've got L's on both sides here. I got to get rid of the smallest. So what's smaller, 0.75 or 1? 75 cents or a whole dollar? Yeah, this is smaller, so I'm going to subtract 0.75 L. Have your calculator handy. These go away. $1 minus 75 cents leaves us 25 cents. Plus 1.5 equals 2.25. Oops. I'm going to keep solving. So here I got to get L alone, so I'm going to subtract 1.5. 0.25 L equals 2.25 minus 1 is 1.25 minus 5 is 0.75. $1.50 plus 75 cents equals 2.25. And then we want to divide both sides by 0.25. Again, if you get this, fantastic. If it's too confusing, please don't stress over it. Just move along. L equals, and then 0.75 divided by 0.25. Oops, not times. 3. So how many liters of pure acid must be added to 3 liters of 50% acid to obtain a 75% acid solution, right? Well, we're going to start with 3 liters of 50. This is like, think of, I don't know, when you're trying to water down something, right? Like a color. Like if you're trying to come up with a color and you put food coloring in a glass and the color's way too strong, right? That'd be like red, 100% of red. So we'd need 3 liters of pure 100% red plus 3 liters of like half red, right? It should be like way lighter, like it's only half. We only use half the food coloring. And together, those two added together would give us 6 liters, so a bunch of liters, of a 75% solution. We mixed the 100% red plus the 50% red. We mixed it together and we got a 75% averaged red. So we needed 3 liters of the pure J. All right, Joe and Jana leave home at the same time, traveling in opposite direction. Joe drives 45 miles per hour and Jana drives 40 miles per hour. And how many hours will they be 510 miles apart? This one is actually easy to set up. There's definitely more complex ways, more types of these problems. This one's pretty simple because they're headed in opposite directions. So basically, however far each one gets from their starting point, we're just going to add them together and it should equal 510, right? So let's say they both start right here and one's traveling this direction and one's traveling this direction and one's going 40 miles an hour, one's going 45 miles an hour. How many hours until the distance they are apart is 510 miles? Right? That's all we're asking. So this guy, however long he travels, plus this guy, however long he or she travels, adds up to 510 miles. All right, so we're putting this in terms of time, right? Distance equals rate times time, and it tells us the total distance. So remember, D equals R times T. Time is what we're looking for. We're looking for the number of hours, okay? Right now, their rates are, Jana's going 40 miles an hour and Joe is going 45. So he's going 45 miles per hour. That's his time. You could put H there, it's the same thing. So that's his distance over here, 45 miles times however many hours they go. Jana's traveling 40 miles per hour, but it's the same amount of time, right? They're both driving at the same time. So T, it's just the same amount of time, so that's why we can combine these here. But we know that the distance after we add their times together, because they're going opposite directions, is 510 miles. So after how many hours will the two of them together have traveled 510 miles, right? So we add these together, 85T equals 510, divide by 85. And 510 divided by 85 equals 6. So after 6 hours, 45 times 6 is 270. 40 times 6 is 240. 270 plus 240 gives us a total of 510. So it's 6 hours, B. All right, 20. And again, I'm sorry that there's so many of these kind of problems. For numbers, 18, 19, and 20, you should not have any of these on your test that you're taking. This is just a review because we just went over 2-9, but there should not be any of these. I made the test, and unless I just missed something, I went through all the questions, and unless I just made a dumb mistake, there should not be any problems like these on your test. Okay, number 20. Temperature in Death Valley, California, the highest ground temperature recorded was 94 degrees Celsius on July 15th, 1972. In the formula, blah, 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 C represents the temperature in Celsius and F represents temperature in degrees. To the nearest degree, what's the highest ground temperature in Death Valley in Fahrenheit? Actually, this is a literal equation, so you should have this one. You definitely will have literal equation problems. 18 and 19, you won't have any of those. This one you will. Okay, so we have C equals 5 over 9 times F minus 32. We want to get F alone. That's our goal right now. We're solving for Fahrenheit. We know Celsius is going to be 94. We know we're going to plug in a 94. We want to solve for F. So let's go ahead and rearrange this equation to get F alone. Then we'll plug 94 in for C and solve. Yeah, you could do it here, but we're going to do it separate. All right, so first off, this is in parentheses, so we have to get rid of this guy first. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing times the reciprocal, and I got to multiply this times the reciprocal. So these cancel. So I got 9 over 5 Celsius equals F minus 32. And to get F alone, I have to add 32. So my equation for Fahrenheit is going to be 9 over 5 C plus 32 equals F, or F equals that, right? Okay, so now I want to figure out the Fahrenheit degrees when Celsius is 94. So F equals 9 over 5 times 94 plus 32. Okay, so I'm going to multiply 9 times 94. I'm just simplifying here using order of operations. So I get 846. So 846 over This was 9 times 94 is this. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 32. If I divide 846 by 5, I get 169.2. 169.2 plus 32 equals 201.2. Wow. 201 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that even possible? Oh, sorry, you can't see it. This was old stuff I used a while ago for scratch paper. Is that even, I didn't know that was even possible. I mean, it's like hot when it gets 100, right? Okay, so here, 201.2, we had to round to the nearest degree, so the 0.2 got left off. So we got F. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you couldn't see that. And then our lovely bonus, and I do have a little room here so I don't have to get that paper out. A concrete mixture, oh geez, it's one of these 18 and 19, guys, weighted average. A concrete mixture is made with 3 parts water and 5 parts cement. If 27 parts water are being used in the current batch of concrete, how many parts of cement are being used? Oh, this is not a weighted average problem. This is a proportion problem. Okay, so if the original concrete mixture is 3 parts water, 3W, and 5 parts cement. So that's our ratio. And we could do it 5C over 3W, doesn't matter. 3 parts water over 5 parts cement. If I make a really big batch and I use 27 parts water, how much cement do I need, right? So if this is the ratio, sticking to this ratio, if I use a whole lot more water, how much cement do I need? So 3 over 5 equals 27 over X, right? And that's what we're solving for here. So I can either cross multiply and solve for X, which you totally can do. 5 times 27 equals 3 times X. That would be 135. And 135 divided by 3 equals 45. Right? That's how many parts of cement I would need. Or you can just ask yourself, okay, well, what did I do to the 3 to turn it into a 27? These two fractions are equal, which means whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top to get this guy. So what did I do to the top? Or sorry, vice versa. Whatever I do to the top, I got to do to the bottom. What did I do to the top here to get 27? I multiplied it by 9. So if I multiply this by 9, 5 times 9, I get 45, right? Either way. So the answer would be 45 parts cement, or you can just write 45. All right, so the trickiest thing about this whole test, you will not have any weird problems like 18 and 19, I promise. There may or may not be a bonus question on it. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the bonus, but none of the regular questions are on it. But the hardest thing is to know, okay, what type of problem am I solving? Oh, there's absolute value bars. Okay, how do I do that, right? Oh, there's a word problem. Oh, this is proportions. I have to know how to set up a proportion. Or, okay, I see a percent sign. Maybe this is percent of change. New minus original over the original, right? So you just got to pay attention to that. Go back and review. And then your test will be due by Friday night at midnight. I got to have it before then. All right, thanks so much. Let me know if you have questions.